here we go. So basically the blue line is my stop loss, the red line is my entry. So I brought this up as well in the chat room this morning, the Discord chat room, basically telling people that, you know, you had this push down, you broke all these lower market structures here on this big bearish push, you traded back up into an area, you found obvious resistance, and you sold off. So essentially what I'm looking at is for this move to continue. So you have your expansion move, your corrective move, and your expansion move. So I'm looking at this as a corrective move and possibly hoping to get another expansion move to the downside. So that's what I have here. This white line is indicated by just simply this 8-hour closing candle here that is closed bearishly. I just took that level from the closing price of that bearish candle. And you can see this morning we traded up into this, well, this was yesterday, but we traded up into that area. So let's get on down to a smaller time frame chart and I'll show you exactly where I was. All right, so essentially this was the area I was watching because we had already traded into this market structure on an 8-hour time frame around the Asian session last night. All right, and you were just playing around within this range. So this is the New York session this morning, not quite the New York session, but it was early in the morning. We put in this move up, and then we sold off. So I just marked the last bullish candle right here. I just marked the opening price of that bullish candle after the sell-off. And then you can see we traded right back up into that area around the New York session. It was exactly at the New York session open. We traded up into that area. We could not get a 5-minute closure above, and then we sold off. So I didn't get a perfect entry. I didn't enter it up here because I want to see price show me that it wants to trade away from that level to validate the resistance. All right, so we got that. We traded down on this push up. I got short right here on this red line. That level is 0.97638. All right, this level up here was 0.97690 if you want to know. So there you go. Basically, I just have my stop loss above the high of this candle because essentially if we trade back up into that area, something else is going on, and I will then assume that price is wanting to test this 97,690 area again and possibly move higher. We did not get that. I entered this trade and I had hit my profit target. My original first profit target was simply this low here. All right, 2/3 of the position size off. I haven't moved the stop to break even yet, but I will just as soon as I get done making this video. So that way if price trades back up into where I initially entered the trade, I will be stopped out. But I already took my profit on it and I'm all good with that. However, I do believe by looking at the 8-hour time frame that this thing is going to continue lower. We took out this market structure swing low with this candle here, so we're making new lower lows and lower highs. Lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. So hopefully this trend continues and pushes down into further areas of support. So obviously the first area of support is going to be 0.97118, which is just simply this swing low. All right, and your next area is going to be this one down here. So hopefully when I wake up in the morning, this thing is trading well below these levels, or at least getting close to them. Now this is an 8-hour time frame, and if this works out, it could take some time. So this could be potentially a trade that I'm carrying forward on into next week. All right, CAD Yen. So I've been talking about CAD Yen ever since, well, we were trading up here. I was expecting a move higher to break out and possibly continuation to the upside. So I'm going to go down into a 15-minute chart here and show you where I got long this thing earlier on in the week. So essentially this is where I got long at first. I took a long position on this trade. All right. And I didn't get stopped out, but I exited the trade when we got shown this absolute beautiful flawless sell signal. Now the reason I didn't like the sell signal or take the sell trade was because on that day the daily candle was green. The bulls had momentum. All the oscillators were saying to sell. So retail was absolutely looking to sell this, but I was not. And you can see we pushed down into this market structure swing high right here. at 81 spot 689, which that formed on the Asian session the night before, the prior night to me taking this trade. So we made basically a false move down, and then we traded out of that area without retesting that area. So when we traded back down into that area and showed a willingness to trade away on a 5-minute chart, I got long, and I had my stop loss originally just underneath that low. We never did go back down and test it, and we shot straight up out of there. And since we've been basically trading sideways to sideways to up, apologies. Now we tested this morning, and we've been basically playing around in this range. Tomorrow we have NFP CAD data will be coming out, as well as the NFP numbers. So hopefully the print is good, or the market takes the print as good news and pushes this thing up into new areas of price discovery. So you can see here that we have essentially cleared out all the stops, resting above all of these highs here, and we're still trading up in that area. So in my opinion, but I absolutely could be wrong, I am wrong every now and then, in my opinion, since we haven't just came up here, liquidated everybody, and then immediately sold off, this has more of a bullish, it seems more bullish, because like I said, if we would have cleared that liquidity and then immediately gotten out of that area to the downside, then that would indicate to me that possibly they were selling into this liquidity. But we haven't got that. We're basically consolidating right above the liquidity. That's more bullish than bearish, absolutely. So I'm going to keep this trade on. My stop is set just above break even. All right, so that's what's going on. Euro USD, yesterday I was expecting a bounce right here, all right, around this area. That level is essentially just this high that it made when it was back here in all this consolidation. So I was expecting a little bounce out of that. I did get that yesterday on this little push up, and I did take a few pips of profit out of Euro USD. But you can see clearly we made a strong push down. We have broken beneath all of that. We are making lower highs and lower lows. So we need to wait to see where Euro USD finds support, or even if it does. We have broken beneath this ascending trend line, so it is possible that this thing is going to be looking pretty good for a selling opportunity if we push back up into these levels. First level, obviously, that I'm going to be watching is 1.20131, which is essentially just that old high. But you can see that it did hold as support until it did not. So that would be a good area to watch. I would much rather, obviously, like to use that level at 1.20172, but that's so close. You know what I'm saying? It's just a good area of confluence. Look for a resistance hold here. All right, if you push up into this area, see if price is unable to get at least hourly closures above that area, then you could possibly look to maybe take this thing lower. All right, it is trending nicely to the downside. It would have been nice to have been in this. You can see you almost have a flawless measured move here with this original push down, retrace, push down. Almost a beautiful measured move. So I am looking for this to consolidate going forward. And since tomorrow is NFP, tomorrow's price action could be extremely volatile. So stay away from that. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos, let me get rid of this real quick just so I can show you what's going on, because people were complaining that we missed this trade. We did not miss this trade. If you can remember, I had my ascending trend line up here just like this, and I also had a descending trend line on this thing probably from around here just to make it a little bit more pretty like that. And basically I've been screaming from the rooftops, if you break out to the upside, look for long opportunities. If you break out to the downside, look for lower price movements. All right, so we did get that breakout. I did not take this trade, for full transparency. I was not in it. I did not take it. I've been busy with other things. All right, the S&P 500 made a new all-time high today. We are trading way outside of the weekly expected move for the options market. So is it possible that we get a pullback in the S&P 500? Yeah, it's possible. I was telling everybody in the chat to just be careful. Don't be buying up here, because we are trading way outside of that range. and generally, you know, they tend to stay within those ranges. Or if they breach those ranges and they stay outside of the ranges, unless it's extremely bullish or extremely bearish, they usually fall right back into the range before the day or before the week is over. But anything can happen. I'm just saying, don't be buying this stuff up here. Obviously, this thing is bullish, so if you want to look for bullish opportunities on the S&P 500, at least wait for a support test at 38.44 spot 30. All right, look for that area to come into play. Look for that area to hold as support. All right, you did break down beneath this trend line, so we'll get rid of that. And finally, last but not least, let's take a look at the king of all kings, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin looks great, looks constructive. We were watching this area right here because we got an 8-hour closure above it. Now, you have a bearish engulfing right here. This is the very definition of a bearish engulfing. You took out the high of its previous candle and the low of the previous candle. Very good. All right, so that is a bearish engulfing. People will be looking at this as an opportunity to get short on Bitcoin. I don't know why they would think that, but they are. Obviously, we're going to be looking to see if this area right here, 37178 spot 27, this line here holds as resistance. If it does, we can look for a lower area to find a support test and hold. I like this area here at 35,790 spot 49. I want to see Bitcoin push down into that area and hold that area as support. If we get that, might be a good spot to look for bullish entries on the king of all kings, ETH. ETH is strong. ETH has made new all-time highs. You got a nice big strong push out of here. This was essentially consolidation. It was a rising wedge pattern, which is usually met with bearish intentions. All right, if you're a pattern trader, you know these things. Rising wedges usually mean bearish, but you can see we broke up out of that area. We came back down, we tested it, and we're still playing around with it. So let's see what happens here. I got a level F as support, where I'm looking for support to hold is 1549 spot 42. You can see we did get a test of that already. All right, your next candle to look for support, test, and hold is going to be 1516 spot 79, which is right below that level. So if we come down, we start testing these areas, and we're not showing a willingness to close at least a 4-hour candle below 1516 spot 79, might be a good area to look for a bullish opportunity. Let's see real quick. I'm going to try to do this real quick. Just bear with me. USD is pulling back. All right, doing the same thing essentially as ETH is. You had a nice big strong push up out of there. Now you are currently testing this area right here as support, 19 spot 509, which is essentially taken from this level here. You can see that we have not been able to close at least a 4-hour candle below that area. So yeah, if you start making higher highs from here, then chances are you're moving higher on dot. And one more, let's do Cardano. If I can find it, let's do this. I know I can find it over here. Where are you at, you beautiful thing? That's against Bitcoin. I don't see it. Let's just do the one against Bitcoin for now. You are strong, pulling back because Bitcoin was moving higher, but you have broken up out of this area. Now, this right here was essentially a stop run because you had an area of support right here, this market structure swing low, but then you traded below it, was testing it as resistance, and popped up out of there. So if you get a pullback back down into 1158, possibly a good area to watch for a support test and hold. If you get that, maybe heading higher. And let me pull up ADA USD real quick, and we will kill this video. ADA or Cardano versus the US dollar is looking constructive. You had the breakout above these market structure swing high here, and you are currently holding that as resistance or support. I do realize that I'm on a 4-hour chart, guys. I'm just trying to rush through this real quick. So you can see right here on this market structure level at 0.4184, you can see that we have not closed the 4-hour candle below that area, and you have been since testing it, and you are moving higher. Now, you do have a market structure swing high right here. All right, let's use the bearish candle. You are currently testing that right there. So close the 4-hour candle above that area. You got 3 hours left on this candle. You may want to look for a lower high or a higher low support test, because you may be breaking out of this bull flag pattern, or whatever you want to call this pattern. This is a very bullish pattern. you have made highs, you are consolidating on those highs and pushing up off of those highs. So I expect ADA, USD to move higher. All right. So that'll do it for me tonight, guys. This was just I tried to make it a quick preview of what's been happening this week. So we will catch you possibly Saturday for the Crypto Weekly Outlook for next week's trades. So make sure you guys stick around for that, and I will see you then. Happy trading.